ثم اللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين غاصبي حقوقهم منكري فضائلهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعد الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه واتقوا الله إن الله تواب رحيم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in chapter Hujurat, verse number 12. This verse we have already discussed when we were discussing about suspicion and su'ul dhann. Yet again, one more very important topic that we need to discuss tonight, and probably this is the last night that we are discussing these topics, and inshallah from tomorrow night and the day after tomorrow and the day after, we'll be having our lectures in Urdu, and I might change the topic a bit since we have been discussing akhlaq, but we need to also discuss a few other points. So inshallah we'll continue with something else inshallah from tomorrow night. But to discuss this important point tonight is about ghibat, is about backbiting. The same verse which we discussed from chapter Hujurat, verse 12, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann. O faithful people, O people of faith, try to refrain from most of suspicions. Why? Inna ba'da dhanni ithm, because some cases this suspicion is a sin. وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا, and do not spy on each other and do not backbite. Stop backbiting. And if you backbite, the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us is that أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدَكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا. Do you like to eat the flesh or meat of a dead brother? فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. You will be disgusted, you will not like it, you will hate it, you will feel, even this thought itself, even this thought, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us is that, just think over it, that if you are backbiting, if you are talking behind someone, it is as if you are eating the flesh of a dead brother. Even this thought even, gives you a discomfort. You don't like even to think something like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the same way that you don't even like to think about eating, can you just imagine there is a dead body lying and I cut a chunk of meat and try to put it in my mouth? I would never do it. I would never even think about it. People don't think about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the same disgust that you will feel with this scenario in your mind, you should feel the same disgust regarding ghibat. Regarding ghibat. But sometimes we enjoy doing ghibat. Yeah, this is very unfortunate that people sometimes, they enjoy after, going out from Imam Bargah, there is a gathering where we are having ghibat. Na'udhu billah. I mean, it's not here, inshallah, and it shouldn't be anywhere. But this is the fact that sometimes our barazas, our meetings, our get-togethers, those meetings and those, discussions are the discussions of shaitan, are the discussions of Iblis, are the discussions of evil, where we are trying to eat the flesh of a dead brother. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and there is no, there is nothing to hide about it. It's very apparent when a person is backbiting someone. It is so apparent that, it can be, and people are enjoying sometimes. People enjoy to listen, people enjoy to talk about someone. There is no need absolutely for you two people talking to each other. Why do you have to talk about a third person? There is no need. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is as if you are eating the flesh of a dead brother. Sometimes we don't really give it a thought. We are not attentive enough. We think that, we are having tabarruk chai, and along with that chai in that group, we are also having this dead meat. Na'udhu billah. So this is something very important. Now coming to a very critical question that usually it is asked, and it is a misconception that I will clear from these definitions of ghibat. Sometimes it is a misconception, sometimes people don't know about it, and sometimes people are trying to find an excuse by giving this excuse. Now what is that? Let me just define this ghibat from narrations. The Holy Prophet says, Al-ghibatu an tadhukura ar-rajula bima fihi min khalfih. What is ghibat? Ghibat, backbiting, is something that you talk about someone in his absence, what he dislikes. If we all are here, sitting here, 50, 100 people sitting here, and if I'm talking about someone over here who is not here, and if he would hear me talking, passing such comments, he would not like it, this is known as backbiting. This is known as ghibat. The next narration says, Ma karahta an tuwajiha akhaka fahuwa ghiba. What is ghibat? Ghibat is something that you would not like to talk about someone in front of him. Then why do you talk behind? I think that if I want to talk something on your face and I want to tell you something which you will not like, then I'm not supposed to tell that thing even behind your back. If I'm discussing those things which you will not like me to discuss in front of you, that is known as ghibat. Now coming to this narration, very, very clear, crystal clear now over here. Abu Dhar, a great companion, salawatullah salamu alayhi, he went to the Holy Prophet and he said, one day I entered upon the Holy Prophet and I asked him, Ya Rasulullah usini, O Holy Prophet, advise me something, teach me something, tell me something good which will benefit me. So the Holy Prophet said, Ya Abu Dhar, iyaka wal ghiba. O Abu Dhar, you have to refrain from ghibat. Beware of ghibat. Beware of backbiting. فَإِنَّ الْغِيبَةَ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الزِّنَا. This ghibat is more sinful than adultery, than zina. I don't want to go explain this phrase. Let me continue. قُلْتُ. Then Abu Dhar says, Ya Rasulullah, وَمَا الْغِيبَةِ? What is ghiba? Ya Rasul, tell me what is ghibat. Please elaborate on this so that I may refrain from ghibat. What is ghibat? What is the nature of ghibat? The Holy Prophet said, very small sentence, but everything is in it. ذِكْرُ أَخَاكَ مَا يَكْرَهُ. Talking about your brother which he dislikes. Anything that you talk about your brother or your sister or someone which they might not like is known as ghibat. If you're talking something about someone which he will not or she will not like it, so that is known as ghibat. Now Abu Dhar says, this is the question that usually people ask in the misconception I was talking about. Ya Rasulullah, O Holy Prophet, if I am talking something about someone which he or she might not like, فَإِنْ كَانَ فِيهِ ذَاكَ الَّذِي يُذْكَرُ بِهِ. What about something that I am discussing which that person has? I'm not lying about him. I'm telling the truth about that person. I'm telling something which that person has in itself. What about that situation? Ya Rasulullah, if I'm talking something which he or she already has. So the Holy Prophet says, "I'lam, beware, be known. أنك إذا ذكرته بما هو فيه فقد اغتبته. If you are talking about something what he or she has, this is known as ghibat. وإذا ذكرته بما ليس فيه فهو بهتان. And if you have telling something that he or she does not have, that is known as buhtan. Now people sometimes ask, Maulana, I was discussing something that the person is having. I was talking about something bad, which the person has. The Holy Prophet says, if a person is having that issue and you are discussing backbiting, is known as backbiting. And if a person is not having that thing and you are attributing that thing to him, that is known as buhtan. It is something else. If you are discussing something which is true, people sometimes think, I'm discussing something which is true. I'm not lying. Yes, if you're not lying, if you're telling the truth, it's known as ghibat. And if you are lying, if someone is lying about someone, that is known as buhtan. That is different. That is a different category. So don't have this misconception that, if I'm talking something that a person already has and everybody knows about it, even if everybody knows about it, get this very clear. Even if everybody knows about something bad a person is having or doing, and if I'm discussing about it, it is known as ghibat. It is as if I'm eating the flesh of a dead body. This is also ghibat. And ghibat is not necessarily while you are uttering words. It's not always verbal. Sometimes ghibat is also by your gestures. Sometimes people do something to imitate other people. Maybe he walks like this, or he talks like this, or his hands are like this, or his nose is like this, or his eyes are like this. Anything that you are discussing, even with your hands or your gestures, or with just a movement of your eye, whatever you are doing, if that person dislikes, that is known as ghibat. It is so severe, it is so important, so sensitive. Sometimes we don't even bother to care about what we are talking. It is so sensitive that I'm going to recite those narrations that sometimes a person feels, to just shut his mouth and to zip it. Don't talk about anything. It is so severe because you never know what you might utter. Sometimes some people, they don't have no command over their tongue. Their tongue is not in their control. Their gestures are not in their control. They are so used to doing this ghibat. As soon as they step out of, get into a gathering, they will start talking about someone else. Start talking, not good, bad. Start talking bad about someone. This is known as ghibat. The Holy Prophet says this is something that you are talking about someone which he already has. You're not lying about it. You're true. But this is known as ghibat. Now, one day, Aisha was there in the house. Someone came to meet the Holy Prophet. An old lady came to meet the Holy Prophet, and she had a very low height, maybe a dwarf, I don't know. So when she went, that old lady, Aisha with her hands tried to show that she had a very, small height. The Holy Prophet said, you have for sure backbitten her. Said, I did not say anything. Said, you were showing with your hands. It's not necessary that you utter words. Even if you are showing, even if you are having gestures of your hands and you are showing something and talking bad about someone, even with a corner of your eye, sometimes, someone enters the Imam Bargah, he's famous for something, people will go on and look, he's here. This my gesture is ghibat. Yeah? Anything, any small thing which that person will not like is known as ghibat. This is how sensitive this is. This is how important it is for us to understand. Now, something that shakes us from inside are these narrations. Some of the narrations, they tell us that for 40 days, if a person performs prayers, fasts, his obligation, nothing will be accepted. If a person does ghibat once, for 40 days, nothing is going to be accepted. 40 days, 40 good days. Ramadan is for 30 days. God forbid if someone does ghibat in Ramadan, he's thinking that I'm, praying and doing my worship and, fasting, and everything is going invalid. Nothing is being counted. This is something very serious, something very sensitive. Now, more sensitive to this, narrations tell us that when a person backbites another person. Now, listen to this very carefully, especially the boys and girls here. If a person, and usually this is everywhere, but I think the women that are supposed to be more careful regarding this. Now, it is not necessarily man or women, but it is to everyone. But sometimes some of the scholars, they say that this is usually there because of the reasons of ghibat. I will come to this if I get some time. Now, it is said that for 40 days, if a person backbites someone, for 40 days, your good a'mal, your good deeds will be shifted in the books of that person whom you backbited. For 40 days. Whatever good you are doing will be written for him, for his deeds. Whatever good you are doing. And stop, there is more to it. And if the person whom you backbited, whatever sins he will be doing for 40 days will be shifted to your book of deeds. And in the day of Qiyamah, when a person will go and say, Mali hadha al-kitab, what is this book? This is not my book, oh Allah. I will be handed my book. I will not give your example. I'll give my example. I will be handed my book and I will look at the book and I will read and I will say, Ya Allah, this is not my book. There's a mistake in this book. What is the mistake? So, Ya Allah, I never did all these, sins that are here, I never went to a pub. I never consumed alcohol. I never did this. I never did that. And where is my, amal? I went for arba'een so many times. I did ziyarat so many times. I used to recite majalis. I used to recite, I used to go on mimbar, give lectures, this and that. Ya Allah, there is nothing such as those amal which I did in my lifestyle. So there will be a voice heard, and that voice will tell me that because you were doing ghibat, all your good a'mal are written in the books of the person you were backbiting. And his sins are shifted in your book. This is something very disturbing. The day of Qiyamah, nothing you can do. No partiality, no contacts, no calling here and there. Nothing is going to work out over there. It is you and your books, you and your a'mal. And some of the people will look at their a'mal, oh Allah, I think this is not my book. I never went to, Hajj. I never went to Umrah. I never went to the ziyarat for 40, 50 times, 60 times. I never made a mosque. I never constructed a mambarga. What is this? It is all in my amal. The voice will tell that person, because some of those people who did these good things, they were backbiting you, I have written their amal in your book. This is something, this exchange of deeds is the calculation in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is something, isn't this serious for us to think? This is something very serious for us to think. We live our whole lives to do good things. But we don't know. The moment we exit the Imam Bargah, we have done something great. We attended a majlis. We cried for Imam. We listened and heard the fadail. We gained so much of sabab. And as soon as we went outside, destroyed everything. Destroyed everything. And so, some of the scholars, they make this, a joke here that, if someone, you find out that someone is doing your ghibat, don't get angry and don't get annoyed. Yeah, their good deeds are going to be shifted in your amal and your sins are going to be shifted in their amal. Go and, tell them, thank you. You are backbiting me. So this is something very serious for us to understand. For 40 days, 40 amal, they will be just gone, haba'an manthura. Now, this is, again, some of the narrations, they tell us that the Holy Prophet, he informed his companions that there are 4 groups of people on the day of judgment, in the hell. In fact, there are 4 groups of people of hell. They will be suffering very severe torment in that hell. And people who will already be there, they will call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will say, oh Allah, was this punishment not enough for us, that you made us the companions of such more sinful people? Now, who are these more sinful people? These 4 groups. Among those 4 groups are the people who are the backbiters. They will be made to drink hot water. They will be given severe punishments. They will be suffering. They will be having more sufferings than the people already burning in the hellfire. Those people will cry out, take them away. We don't want their company. We don't want to be with them. They are having very severe punishments. This is the amount of sensitivity in this issue of ghibat. The Holy Prophet said, when I went to Mi'raj, I saw a few people, a group of people, they were scratching their faces and they were pulling down their flesh with their nails. So I asked Jibreel, who are these people? They are, scratching their faces. So Jibreel said, Ya Rasulullah, these are the people who used to backbite and who used to dishonor people, mu'mineen, by backbiting. This is the amount of punishment, and this is the amount of, the torment that the people are going to have. Now the Holy Prophet says, there is no atonement, there is no kafara, there is no, how can you compensate this? Doing ghibat, unless and until the person you backbited forgives you. There is no other way. Yes, some of the scholars, they say, yeah, if you don't find him, and if you did it by mistake, you try to do istighfar on his behalf, try to give out, sadaqah on their behalf. But the only thing that can, clean the sin of backbiting is only when they forgive you. It is only then that they will forgive you. This is haqqun nas, and this is a sin that a person commits with his tongue and with his gestures. Now there are narrations very disturbing. Now we don't have enough time to discuss everything in detail, but I told you that these are the topics for us to just, just a glimpse of few things that we are discussing. There is so lot more to this, and how when a person is doing ghibat, what are the cures of these? I have it here with me, but because there is a specific time I have to finish. Now the Holy Prophet, Amir al-Mu'minin says, now don't think that if you are doing ghibat, that is only when you will be counted a sinful person. No. If a person is sitting in a gathering where people are backbiting each other, a person who listens to this backbiting, enjoys listening to this ghibat, is also counted amongst the people who are backbiting. The Amir al-Mu'minin says, "As-sami'u lil-ghibati kal-mughtab." A person who listens, enjoys ghibat, is as if he is doing ghibat himself. He's equally, having the equal share in that crime. A person who enjoys ghibat, some of the people, they really want to enjoy ghibat. The moment they sit, some of us have made this habit. The moment we get together, we start talking about a third person, a fourth person, and not remembering them with good names, remembering them with bad names, with bad attributes. Now, there are so many other things that are known as the causes of this ghibat. Now, there is a narration which the sixth Imam narrates, and it counts at least 10 things which are the causes of ghibat, of backbiting. Very quickly, I will just go through, just mention the titles. One of those things is that a person who does not control his anger usually is, found of doing ghibat. A person, sometimes this anger itself is a huge topic to be discussed, but unfortunately we are out of, time, and there is no more time to discuss. But this anger management is also something very important. So the Imam says that some people like to, when they want to calm down their anger, they start doing ghibat. Some people are seeking approval of others. They want to please others, and in order to please others, they start doing ghibat. For example, if I come to you now, I want to please you, and I know you are not happy with the other guy, and I start doing ghibat of him in front of you to try to please you. This is one more cause. Tuhmat, slandering other people. This is again one of the causes. Tasdiq al-khabar bila kashfihi. Some people do not want to, go and understand what really happened. They do not want to, they just want to blindly follow the rumors. And they start talking about someone, there are so many, especially in this age of social media. Some news will come out, that person did this. Without confirming the news, we go on spreading the word. This is again ghibat. Su'adhan, we talked about, suspicion. People having a lot of suspicion and having a lot of, su'adhan, end up doing ghibat. If you remember, we discussed this in the topic when we were discussing su'adhan. Hasad, envying people. If I'm having hasad regarding someone, I will end up doing ghibat. I need to cure my heart with this hasad. Mockery, sukhriya, want to joke around. This is something very important. Sometimes we think that, we are just joking around. Yeah. Some of us, I was just joking, I wasn't serious about, I did not want to backbite you. I did not want to talk bad about you. I was just joking. I just wanted to make you laugh. Just wanted to sound funny. You want to sound funny in this world, but when over there, you will see the deeds, it won't be funny anymore. It won't be that funny that time. It won't be, it won't sound funny. People won't laugh. You won't see people laughing on these backbitings and on these ghibat. Ujb. Ujb is again something very important. Here, out of astonishment, people, sometimes cannot control themselves, and they want to show their surprise, and they want to, there is a lot of explanation to this also. Tabarrum. Tabarrum is something, when you find someone bad, and you dislike someone, and you want to show your discomfort regarding someone, someone came and sat down close to me today in Imam Bargah. He was smelling so bad. Simple. Just like that. He was smelling bad. He was wearing dirty clothes. He was a dirty person. He was, snoring or maybe sleeping in the Imam Bargah, talking anything which that person might dislike is known as ghibat. It's known as ghibat. We might be talking, to please other people, but we are doing ghibat. Tazayyun. Sometimes I want to glorify myself. I want to show off. I want to show that I'm greater. to show my greatness, I would like to look down upon other people. So I will end up doing ghibah. This is all. And then there are cures for this, which the ulama, they have mentioned. One of the cures I will just mention very quickly is that a person needs to try to control your tongue. Try to control your tongue. Try to speak less. People today in this age of social media, they try to express themselves so much that they end up doing ghibat. Yeah. So there is no need to express yourself so much. Try to talk less. Try to, gain more. Try to, when you listen more, you will talk sensible. People who talk a lot, they don't have anything. As they say, empty whistles, they make louder sounds. Yeah. If you are empty from inside, you will talk more. So people who talk more will eventually end up making more mistakes. And ghibat is amongst one of those. One day the Holy Prophet called all the companions and said, today everybody is going to fast. And at the time of Maghrib, no one is going to open and break their fast until I tell them to. So people fasted, and at the time of Maghrib, they came to the Holy Prophet. Everybody came individually and they asked the permission of the Holy Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, I was fasting. Do you allow me to open my fast? The Holy Prophet used to allow, yes, you can go open your fast, you can go open your fast, you go break your fast. One father came and said, Ya Rasulullah, I fasted and my daughters also fasted, but they are at home, they are shy to come in your presence. Will you allow them to break their fasts? So the Holy Prophet turned his face the other way around. After a while, he went on the other side, sat down there, asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, my daughters, they were fasting. Will you allow them to open their fast? The Holy Prophet again turned his face the other way. He again, after a few minutes, asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, can you allow my daughters to open their fast? When the third time the Holy Prophet was asked, the Holy Prophet said, how can you say that your daughters were fasting while they were eating the flesh of people the whole day around? They were eating. They were consuming the flesh of people. So he was surprised, Ya Rasulullah, what are you saying? They were fasting. They weren't eating anything. So the Holy Prophet said, go home right now and ask your daughters to vomit. And when they will vomit, you will see they were eating the flesh of people. So he ran towards his home. So what is going on? He went to the home, called the daughters, said, go and try to vomit. As they vomited, fresh pieces of flesh came out of their mouths. He came back running to the Holy Prophet, said, Ya Rasulullah, you were right, you are Sadiq. This has happened, this is what happened. I saw the pieces of flesh come out of their mouths. So the Holy Prophet said, these are the pieces of flesh that they were eating. Atuhibbu, the ayah, remember? Ta'akul lahma akhihi maitan. Do you like to eat the flesh of dead brother? So they were eating. The Holy Prophet said, if they would have not vomited out these pieces, and if these pieces would have remained in their bellies, they would have for surely burned in the hellfire for eternity. So this is how sincere and how important this issue of ghibat is. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure us all from these diseases and these vices that we are discussing. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the barakah of this holy month, the month of Ramadan, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure us all from the diseases of this heart and soul. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and accept our worships and fasts during this holy month. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure all of the mu'mineen and mu'minat around the world suffering from any type of illness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count us amongst the companions of the Imam of our time, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.